Hi, this is Stephen Beschloss with America, America.
I'm Mark Jacob with the Stop the Presses newsletter.
And this is On Target. This week we're going to focus in on a story from the Rolling Stone. It's not a deep piece of reportage as much as it is a summary of the reality that we're facing, which is a rising oligarchy, oligarchic rule, and it emphasizes, spotlights, chronicles, really kind of comments both from Bernie Sanders and Chris Murphy, senators from Vermont and from Connecticut. I want to share quickly a couple of quotes from each. Sanders, we are moving rapidly into an oligarchic form of society. Never before in American history have so few billionaires, so few people have so much wealth and so much power. And then Murphy, I think we're talking a lot about the coming dictatorship, but I think what's really coming is what you would call an oligarchy. What it means is that a handful of really rich people run the government and they steal from ordinary people using their access to government in order to make themselves and their family even richer.
Right, Stephen. So the dictionary definition of oligarchy is, government by the few, government in which a small group of exercises control, especially for corrupt or selfish purposes. And that's what Trump envisions. I mean, and that's what Elon Musk envisions. And I think what you're seeing now is it's a pattern that you've seen it throughout history. You've seen it. You saw Putin. The term oligarch. I first became really familiar with it when we were talking about Putin and his industry pals, the
Right.
oligarchs, and that's how he achieved power. Is he cut a deal with extremely rich people so that they would remain extremely rich, and so he would remain extremely powerful, and the people be damned.
Surely Hitler did the same thing with his industrialists, who got very, very rich during the Third Reich. So there are obviously other historical examples that we can give, but and of course we could go back into American history of very rich people,
Yeah.
some of the richest people in the country who have run the government in some sense, but they haven't simply run the government just to stuff their own pockets, but they have done so, recognizing the goals of the Constitution, which is to focus on, in broad terms, sort of improving the lives for the people of the country. Um, I- you know, as we said, this story, it doesn't dig too deeply, but what it does do is that it just gets this idea out in the public in a very clear way, and the need to chronicle this so that people understand that this is where we are. I mean, we've talked about fascism being, the danger of this administration. I don't think that's not true. But what I do think is that we may have underestimated how much he was going to lard the government, lard his leadership team with billionaire after billionaire, with the specific interest of letting him and his cronies get richer and richer. And if I may, it just strikes me. I have, I'm a very simple thinker. I mean, if you're a multi-billionaire, how many more billions do you need, right? If you're a multi-billionaire accessing power, consolidating power, isn't there any instinct to use that power for the good of others?
Yeah, isn't it a disturbing notion that the most powerful and rich people in our society are the most cowardly? I mean, isn't that just tragic for a democracy? And you have the situation where the reason that I think that some of these very rich people are acting this way is because Trump has told them that that's the way they should behave, that he can punish them. He's made it clear that he'll punish them if they are impudent to them, and that he will reward them if they agree. It's kind of an old mob protection racket, where nice company you got there. Be
Yeah,
ashamed if something bad happened to it.
yeah.
It's I mean it's really no more
You're going to be
sophisticated than
safe
that.
as long as you've got some millions that just happen to flow into my
Right,
inaugural fund.
right. Which exactly, which is why Bezos and Zuckerberg, have bent the knee, and ABC News, owned by Disney. I mean these companies and these big rich people have recognized what Trump is telling them, which
Right.
is that play ball with me, and I'll reward you. I mean, this is but the thing that everyone needs to understand about this is it's deeply undemocratic. It is trying to make your vote and the will of the people irrelevant. And
Right.
that's why we should be alarmed by it.
Right, and look, I mean, Michelle Goldberg in the New York Times, a columnist there. I mean, her piece sort of on this topic referred to the Great Capitulation, which I think is a smart way to talk about this moment. So you've got this combination going on of the capitulation of these very powerful, very rich people to Trump, bending the knee to this guy. Because they fear him, because they think there's a benefit for them, and that intensifies this problem of oligarchic rule, that they understand, that they've decided to accept this idea that if they're not in the inner circle with him, then they're in trouble, and so they're choosing to bend the knee and go for it, and that just puts us all in danger.
Yeah, and so we need to spot the companies and the powerful people who are not doing that, and we need to reward them
Yeah,
and
and I
support
think
them.
that's something that we're going to do. Dare I say, we're going to do it again and again. I mean, it's
Yeah,
focus on the ones that are kowtowing, and focus on the people that have the courage and the decency and the, dare I say, self respect to do exactly that, which is to oppose.
yeah, yeah. Well, that says it for me. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you, Mark. See you next time.
Okay.